And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's the star of our show, direct from the bar,
PB.
What is going on out there, peeps? Okay, look, I did a video. See this one here? And underneath there is a ton of comments and questions. So I want to at least make sure I go back and answer your guys' questions, as many of them as possible. Can't do them all, so I have to make another video to do them all because there's a ton of them. Because you guys have some good questions and made some good comments, and I want to make sure to address them. So let's get into this. Before we get started, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. All right, here we go. No pimpy, please. It's 3.22 dinars for every dollar, or 4.25 dinars for every dollar. That's 0.23 to 0.31 cents. If they delete the zeros, that's a devaluation, bro. Deleting the zeros from the exchange rate is 0.76. So it's a devaluation, unless they swap 2 new dinars for every 1 dinar. No, actually 0.76 is much more higher than 0.23 and 0.31. So that's not a devaluation. But yes, in the article, you're right. Other people have brought it to my attention. So it says right here, floating of the dinar could stabilize automatically at the value in the distant future between 3.22 and 4.25 dinars to the dollar. I had originally said I think that's a typo, only because of the 322 used to be the old exchange rate, but that's when it was 1 dinar for $3.22 USD. You're saying it's the other way around. So let's take a look at the way you have it. 3.22 dinars for $1. So that means for every million that you have divided by 3.22, that's cool. That means I get $310,559. I'll take that. Or 4.25 gives me $235,294. You also have to take in consideration the deletion of the zeros. So I have 5 million dinars. Take the 3 zeros off. I now have 5,000 dinars. Now do it times the exchange rate you're talking about. So they're saying 3.22 or 4.25 dinars for every dollar. Well, if I have my 5,000 divided, here's what it comes out to. I get, for 3.22, I would get $1,552.79. For 4.25, I would get $1,176.47. Nobody likes that one. But over here, remember, the exchange rate right now is 0.00076. Equals 0.76. That's after you take the zeros off. So my 5,000 times that would give me at least $3,800. Now, what you're hoping to get is this. If they take my zeros off, fine. You're hoping that at least gets up in those exchange rates that we're talking about, the 322 or 425. For 322, I get $16,100. For 4.25, I get $21,250. No, you're not a millionaire, but it's better than nothing. U.S. Treasury holds $35 billion per Trump. So if the theory is correct, that will be $35 million, which is nothing. How could $35 billion be $35 million? That doesn't make no sense. $35 billion would be $35 billion, not $35 million. So you're talking about this video right here. So what does Trump say? Let's listen to it.
In fact, I think they're 20,000 feet long over there, and deep, thick concrete and steel. Nobody ever built runways like this. Okay, it was way overbuilt, but that's okay. But we have billions of dollars into that. I said, if we leave, you got to pay us. If we leave, you have to pay us for embassies. You have to pay us for the money we put in.
How are you going to collect?
Well, we have a lot of their money right now. We have a lot of their money. We have $35 billion of their money right now sitting in an account. And I think they'll agree to pay.
Okay, a couple of things about that video that you should understand. Trump said we have 35 billion of their dollars. People are interpreting it as we have 35 billion dinars. No, when he said we have 35 billion of their dollars, we have 35 billion of their dollars. We took control of their money. What I mean by that is every time Iraq sells oil, we take all the money that they make from the oil and we hold it in an account for them. And then as they pass their budget, we will allocate money to them as needed. So when Trump says we have 35 billion of their money, he's not talking about the Iraqi dinars. He's talking about we have 35 billion of their money from oil sales. So no, we don't have 35 billion of the dollars, and 35 billion is not going to become 35 million. 35 billion is 35 billion dollars. That's what Trump was talking about. You heard what he said, we have 35 billion of their dollars, meaning they're 35 billion dollars, because they don't do oil sales in dinars, they do oil sales in US dollars sitting in an account. That's what they're talking about. And I know you guys have been misled for years. People hyping it up and saying, listen to this. See, you understand that these content creators will take that shit and twist it because they can. It's real easy to mislead everybody because people misunderstand what Trump's talking about. If you knew the story behind what happened in Iraq and what it is that Trump's talking about, then it makes sense. But if you don't do any research and you don't know the backstory, then you don't know that what Trump's talking about is the oil sales money, not that we're holding on to Iraqi dinar. In my opinion, just slopping off the zeros doesn't nothing but downsize the bills, as you showed, make it 25,000 to 25, worth $19. That really doesn't do much for the IQD. Actually, it does a whole lot. But okay, why would America take payments from Iraq for the war, infrastructure, and such if it would only be a few million? We spend $10 million a month over the hundreds of millions. Just a part of my opinion. I know you're wanting what we want. Just playing devil's advocate. No problem, Jimmy. I'll explain it. So I know everybody hates this, but it's the truth. When they talk about lopping off the zeros, they're talking about taking it off this, the nominal rate. When I tell you it doesn't affect their value, it doesn't change it at all. So what it does to the IQD is it makes it easier to manage. People don't need to take a whole wheelbarrow full of money to buy a candy bar. With the zeros missing, they can put the bills in their wallet. It's easier to manage that way, especially when it comes to accounting and trading. People don't have to calculate the money using all these zeros on there. It simplifies the accounting process. So you see, you're looking at this wrong. You're going, oh my God, they had 25,000 dinars. Now they only have 25. They're losing value. They're not losing any purchasing power. So 25,000 times the current exchange rate is 0.00076. If you multiply these two together, you get $19. See that? If you take the zeros off, and that includes this little exchange rate right here, so 25 times 0.76 is still $19. They haven't lost any purchasing power whatsoever. The only thing that's changed is the nominal value. This amount right here in the currencies is called a nominal value. It looks crazy to you because you think these people are losing money. They're not losing anything. They're not losing any purchasing power. They still have $19 worth of purchasing power, whether it's a 25 dinar or a 25,000 dinar. And I just showed you how that's done because they take the 3 zeros off the currency and it comes off this exchange rate, and that's how they maintain their value. Why would America take payment from Iraq for the war, infrastructure, and such if it would only be worth a few millions? Okay, first of all, the United States doesn't take payment for the war. It doesn't take money for the infrastructure. Iraq gets their own money. I told you when they sell oil, that money comes to us over here in the United States. We hold it in an account for them. When they need money for infrastructure, they show us a budget. We will allocate payments to them to cover what they have in their budget. So it's not like we're just giving them our own money. We're giving them their own money is what we're doing. So that's how this happens. Anyone that's been in this like me since 2009, Shabibi said he would bring the dinar back to its original value. Delete the zeros is to release smaller denominations, not make the 25,000 less valuable. I just showed you it's not being less valuable. Only the nominal value changes. Instead of it showing 25,000, it's going to show 25. They're not losing any money, the Iraqi people. They don't go to the bank and exchange their Iraqi dinars for US dollars. They exchange their Iraqi dinars for Iraqi dinars. So it doesn't make a difference to them. They might think they are, but they're not losing anything. I just showed you how it is they maintain the same purchasing power. So they're not losing anything. Shabibi made it 50 and 100,000s for financial reasons. Yes, he did. So no, the 25,000 is not less valuable. Only in nominal value is what you're talking about. That's why I keep saying, man, these guys out there talking about the Iraqi dinar, they don't know anything about currencies. They can't explain anything to you guys intelligently because they don't have the knowledge nor the education to explain it. When I tell you that there's a difference between nominal value, I'm just talking about the way the banknotes look. It's what the government says that piece of paper is worth. That's what the nominal value is. There's a difference between the nominal value and the exchange rate. Okay, so don't confuse the two. He pointed out that the new currency entry does not mean the destruction of the ancient coins, but will continue to trade for about 10 years, pointing out that this period will enable the central bank to withdraw the old currency in accordance with the dynamics and mechanics in order to preserve liquidity in the market. Somebody please elaborate. We heard that they might keep the new notes and the old notes together side by side for at least 10 years. Last time they did it, it took them less than 6 months to do it. So I don't think it's going to go on for 10 years. But why they're allowing 10 years is because they know there's a lot of people that are stashing their money away and they don't trust the bank. So they're not going to bring in their old notes right away. But either way, when they make the move, understand that the 25,000 dinar, no matter how long they hold it, is still only worth 25 dinars. No matter how long. So even if it's 10 years, what they're doing is trying to remove all the old currency out of the market and put in the new ones. Now, right here, you answered another question. Enables the central bank to withdraw the old currency, so take out the old currency and exchange it for the new, to preserve liquidity in the market. In order to do that, just because you have a 25,000 dinar in country or out of country, still the same. Understand that when they make the change to the currency, it affects the Iraqi dinar all around the world the same. There is no different exchange rate for the dinar in country or out of country. It's all the same. So how are they going to preserve their liquidity? By you understanding that if you bring in the 25,000 dinar, it only has an exchange value of 25 dinars. That's how they preserve the liquidity. Can you imagine they allowed the U.S. citizens to keep the zeros on there, but take the zeros off in country? And then we take our 25,000 dinar into the bank with the exchange rate of 322, and we walk out with $80,500. Meanwhile, in Iraq, they only get that purchasing power of $19. Do you think that's going to fly from one country to the next? All the citizens would turn in their dinar and drain the liquidity all out of Iraq. That country would be broke. Absolutely broke. And no liquidity. The nominal value, the appearance of the banknote changes, but it doesn't mean they get any less value out of their money. It stays the same. I showed you how it stays the same. Understand that there's a difference between an exchange rate and a nominal rate. Two different things. People are going to start using less bills to do purchases over there. Whenever they make the change, it affects their currency all over. Just because you have a 25,000 dinar and you go to make the change wherever you make your change at, they're going to tell you as soon as you get there, this is not worth 25,000 dinars. That's been redenominated and it's now worth only 25 dinars. That's what they're going to do. In the article that you just read, they also said it would not raw value. Therefore, it cannot be a law. I think you're trying to say lob. As you're stating, the logical explanation is exchange rate and redenomination simultaneously with existing currencies retaining the face value. That's not the only logical explanation. I just showed you what the logical explanation is, and I showed you how they keep their value. They're not being robbed of any purchasing power whatsoever. You don't like it because you thought you're going to be a millionaire. That doesn't change things. When they remove the zeros, they're being removed. Whether you have the 25,000 or the 25 dinar, when you go to exchange it for your money, they're going to tell you that the 25,000 dinar is a 25 dinar. They're going to make sure that you understand that a redenomination has happened. It's illegal to remove zeros out of country. No. Out of country does not remove the zeros. They make the changes at the central bank. But it affects their currency all around the world. So essentially, Iraq is choosing to delete the zeros. Once word gets out and everybody knows it, they make the changes. Like I said, just because you carry around a 25,000 dinar and you not exchange it for the lower denomination, doesn't mean you get to get rich off their currency. It's not going to happen. This is not true, Big Pimp. That is only for in their country, not ours. I spoke to people that work for the airlines in the currency place. Whatever they have, multiply that, and that's what you get. Nope. All around the world, the changes are the same. Whether you live in Turkey or you live in UAE, whether you live over in Britain, it's all the same. Once they knock the zeros off the Iraqi dinars, the dinars have lost their zeros all around the world. Think about it. If we get to keep the zeros on, but Iraq doesn't, they exchange one for one. So a 25,000 dinar now becomes 25 because the zeros are off. But over here in the United States, the 322 rate, we get to keep the zeros on there, and we get to change 25,000 dinar with the exchange rate of 322. 25,000 dinar times 322. So over here in the United States, we get $80,500. But over there in Iraq, they get $19 of purchasing power. Do you see what I'm saying? You could buy the old notes in Iraq, mail them to your buddy over in America, let him exchange it, and get $80,000 for every $25,000. You become a millionaire. So you're saying that they're going to allow other countries around the world to get rich off of it, and their people stay poor. No, that's not going to happen. I'm explaining to you exactly like it's going to happen. They're going to remove the zeros. Then it's going to end up at a Forex, and the market will determine the exchange rate. So a 250 dinar note will be going to 2.0. These are lower denominations. They're not even in circulation because they have no value. Those will just be lower denominations. That's all it is. Only bills that have 3 zeros on them lose the 3 zeros. Look, just so you can see, because you guys don't believe me, it's not a confiscation of wealth, but rather a recalibration of the currency's nominal value. In essence, 1,000 old Iraqi dinar will become a 1 new dinar. See, they remove the zeros. When that takes effect, it happens for all Iraqi dinars around the world. Maybe I think you're double counting. So here's where the problem is. So that means that the CBI will take a 25,000 dinar and it will equal to $7,763. But you're leaving the zeros on. You got to take the zeros off. Just go back and look at how I did it on the piece of paper so you understand. This is the deletion of the zero, which is likely just the name of the process to make it understandable to people. It is a process. That's literally what they're doing, taking the zeros off. Let me show you something. You guys keep quoting Shabibi, and you guys are misquoting him. Here's a video for you guys to watch, where all that stuff in here where he's talking about the Iraqi dinar. I'll leave a link so you guys can come check this video out yourself, because content creators have a way of twisting his words and lying to you to mislead you. Just go hear it for yourself. The removing zeros from a currency. Removing zeros from a currency is called a redenomination. Deleting zeros of a currency. Deleting zeros of a currency, a process called a redenomination. Lopping zeros off currency. Lopping zeros is a colloquial term for the process of a currency redenomination. So it's the same thing, all of them, whether it's a deletion, the removal, or the lopping of the zeros. There's no separation because people go, well, they might delete the zeros, but not doing a lop. And they're all the same thing. It's called a redenomination. So what is a redenomination? In monetary economics, redenomination is a process of changing the face value of banknotes. The face value. So a 25,000 dinar becomes a 25, just like I showed you. A redenomination itself is considered symbolic, as it does not have any impact on the country's exchange rate. I showed you that. The zeros are removed, of course, but the purchasing power remains the same. $19 and $19 in relation to the other currencies. So do you see, even in here, they describe to you what a redenomination is. A deletion of the zeros, the removing of the zeros, the lopping of the zeros, all the same thing. All they're doing is changing the way the banknotes look. But the purchasing power stays the same. Here's Randy. Randy says, the article lays it out crystal clear. Remove 3 zeros from the currency, the nominal value. Yes, people are confusing it for the exchange rate. There's a difference between what an exchange rate is and what the nominal value is. The nominal value is the amount on your banknote. The exchange rate is what you get to exchange your currency for another country's currency. 25,000 becomes 25, yes. Subsequently, afterwards, the dinar may float or the CBI may set the rate. They haven't decided. The value of the currency happens after notes have been exchanged inside or outside of Iraq. The value of $3 or $4 is possible. Pay attention here. The value of the currency happens after notes have been exchanged inside and outside of Iraq. So there is no, it's going to happen inside and it's going to be different on the outside. Nope. You have to read this without bias. That's the problem, Randy, is everybody is biased when they read it. I'm trying to tell them, pay attention to the wording. You guys are being misled by other content creators. Not what we hoped for, but at least we make some money and get closure. I'm hoping that even with the zeros off, that it does somehow reach a 322 or 425 exchange rate. Then I get a little bit more money than if it was just 76 cents. It's not the millions we wanted, but this is how it's done correctly. Reading into this article or trying to interpret it in any other way is only fooling yourself. You know, look, I get it, you guys. You don't like it. You don't want to hear this. That's why people get pissed at me. Baby, you don't know what you're talking about. Yes, I'm the only one out here that does. That's why nobody debates me. Do you understand when I had my other channel, I would offer them $5,000 or $10,000 to debate me. If they could beat me, they can have that money. And not a single person ever took me up on it. Not at all. Not one damn time. And people are like, why aren't you challenging Pimpy for the money? If you were right, it should be easy money. But none of them ever took me up on it. And I even challenge listeners, hey, you want to prove me wrong? Go right ahead. You're welcome to come aboard and prove me wrong. But just don't go on and go, you're wrong. Well, why am I wrong? What am I wrong about? Explain to me in detail. But just don't go, you're wrong. See, there's a difference between being wrong about the information or me giving you information that you don't like. All this is not that I'm wrong. It's like information you don't like to hear. So you're saying, for example, a 322 times 125,000 note, all I've done is double my profits after 20 years? That's not worth it. You yourself being in this investment, is it? You mean to tell me you've known this from the jump and you still invested? Shaking my head, no. Something ain't right here. You're telling me that the United States and Bush and Cheney clan invaded Iraq for a bunch of Jesse Pinkman's chiclets? Oh my God, dude. Cade. Dude, that is the funniest reference. And I know a lot of people aren't going to get it, but that shit is funny as could be. Jesse Pinkman's chiclets. Oh my God. That is so funny. This was how President Bush put it. Operation Iraqi Freedom will pay for itself. Love it. Again, this is a lot of information out there that people have been taking and using it to mislead you. Did I know this from the start? No. In the beginning, I was following along with the other content creators until I started doing my own research and really digging into it. Come on, I taught college for 7 years. I was being lazy in the beginning, but then shortly after I started doing my videos, I started reading the hell out of everything. And I said, no, oh man, there is a big misunderstanding or people are being lied to, one or the other. And I started teaching people as I went along. Those people out there, these other content creators, they don't make educational videos. I went through and I showed everybody the types of things that affect the exchange rate, what Iraq needs to do in order to increase your exchange rate. I addressed all the rumors that are out there, what it takes to be in the World Trade Organization, the whole 9 yards. Explain to you what an exchange rate is. Explain to you what a nominal rate is. No other content creators did it because they don't know. None of them out there know this. Because if they do, then they are purposely misleading you and lying to you. But the Jesse Pinkman thing, that is freaking classic. So when Bush did the Operation Iraqi Freedom, he never said it would pay for itself. Somebody in his admin made the comment that the Iraqi war would pay for itself. He wasn't talking about money. He didn't hear him say, the Iraqi war will pay us trillions of dollars or we'll get trillions of dinars. He never said that. He said the war would pay for itself. And how is it going to pay for itself? Oil confiscation. Their natural resources. That's what we took from. So the oil sales were paying for the war. Ah, here he is. His name is Paul Wolfowitz. He's the one that said the Iraqi war would pay for itself, not Bush. You see right here, then the Deputy Secretary of Defense stated in March of 2003 that Iraq could finance its own reconstruction and that oil revenues could bring between 50 to 100 billion in 2 to 3 years. So no, the Iraq war didn't pay for itself. It cost us trillions of dollars. And he was wrong. And what he was talking about was the oil sales. That's how the war would pay for itself. Content creators like to lie and mislead you and make you believe that the Iraqi dinar changing its exchange value will help pay for the Iraq war and that we're holding billions of Iraqi dinars. That's not true. Not true at all. There's no proof that we are holding any Iraqi dinars at all. The 35 billion that Trump is talking about is the money that they have sitting in an account that's US dollars that they got from oil sales. Can't take zeros off our 000 notes without a Sharpie. That's funny. That's ridiculous and a crime. Yeah, it is. Defacing currencies is actually a crime. It is here in the United States. I don't know about in Iraq. That will piss Donald Trump off. Why would that piss Donald Trump off? They are a sovereign nation. They have their own freedom to do what they want. Trump has nothing to do with it whatsoever. We have 35 billion dinars paid to us. See, Trump's saying $35 billion. Jonathan here is saying we have 35 billion dinars. No, we don't have any of their dinars. And the 35 billion that Trump is talking about was from the oil sales. Trump wants his money. Well, it's not his money. That would be ours, not his. There would be a war if they did that. No, there'd be no war. There's nothing you could do about a redenomination because Trump doesn't like wars. So he's not going to go to war over redenomination. And Iraq doesn't have tariffs on it, which means they're doing what Trump wants. And actually, Iraq has tariffs on them. They're small ones, nothing major, nothing that really affects them, but they do. And what he wants is his money, not pennies. Well, again, you keep acting like it's Trump's personal money. It's not. I know you guys get into this weird, dark hats and white hats and, secretly behind the scenes and there's an NDA and all that. No, don't let these content creators mislead you. Oh, I got this military person. The military person is giving me the intel. Why the hell would the military be involved with the redenomination? They're not. No military be involved in anything to do with the currency. They have no say-so whatsoever. That's the Central Bank of Iraq. No military. No military has any special intel. They don't have any insight. They're just lying to you, especially Snuffleupagus. Can you imagine those of us who are invested in the ISX will get from all of this throughout the next 2 decades? Oh my gosh, Andrew, yes. It really depends on the outcome of this election. We need al-Sudani's people to get the most blocks. But like I said, Maliki is tricky. He's very good at what he does. His group of people have been in power for 20 years. If Maliki grabs power of Iraq again and they appoint a new prime minister, we're screwed. We're back to square one. I don't care how pissed off everybody gets, but that's the truth. Maliki and his people caused most of the corruption in Iraq. Al-Sudani was taking them out of being corrupt, moving them forward, and doing what was right for the Iraqi people. We need Al-Sudani to be in there for another term. He's doing all these projects. He's doing the highways and the Port of Falls, doing everything he can to make Iraq an economic hub. This will change all of Iraq. It'll make it a very rich country. Yes, the ISX would benefit from that big time. I heard deleting the zeros is only in country and Forex still counts as zeros. Nope. If they delete the zeros off the currency, guess what? The Forex deletes the zeros off the currency. Or Forex investors would go crazy, robbing Iraq of all their money. So they would just end up back to square one if they allowed people to keep the zeros on there, while Iraq's people had to do away with the deleted zeros. Pimpy, so you've been talking about the dinar for all these years, wasting energy, debating people, hundreds of videos for 16,000. Yeah, pretty much, but it wasn't only for 16,000. Remember, YouTube pays me for the videos. That's why I never did a Patreon. People are like, Pimpy, how come you don't start a Patreon? Because I didn't want to charge you guys for that. Just let YouTube pay me. So I made tons of videos. But I also didn't like the fact of people getting ripped off. And so I spoke out against what was going on. So yeah, all this energy in debating, so you guys had a clear understanding and wasn't misled about the Iraqi dinar. Seriously, Pimpy, I don't mean to be mean, but you should probably put the alcohol away. Okay, if you insist. Hold on. I'm trying to put it away. Maybe some of your brain cells would grow back. No, God, you guys, I'm already wicked smart as it is. All bullshit aside. I have multiple degrees, including a master's, and I taught college for 7 years. That doesn't make you wicked smart, but I know how to do research. This is why you never saw another content creator debate me. Because I understand how currencies function, and they don't. All this time studying this investment, and you still cannot understand the deletion of the zero? What makes you think that I don't understand? Just because you don't like what I'm saying, that doesn't mean I'm wrong. I'm actually correct. I'll allow you to post underneath here, Desert Heat. Explain to me how it is that I'm wrong. Even though I just showed you what the internet says a deletion, a lop, or the removal of zeros is. It's a redenomination. It's the removal of the zeros off the face value of the currency. In that article, it showed you 1,001, taking the zeros off. Pimpy's always right. Cannot understand the deletion of the zeros in country to bring the citizens whole and give them purchasing power so they're not carrying around inappropriate notes. Well, let me ask you something, Desert Heat. While you're at it, trying to beat me in the debate, explain to me how it is that deleting the zeros off the currency is going to bring them more purchasing power. I just literally showed you how they maintain the same purchasing power by removing the zeros and then taking the 3 zeros off that exchange rate. A 25,000 dinar with the zeros is worth $19. If you take the zeros off that and the exchange rate, still worth $19. The purchasing power doesn't change at all. So no, there's no special arrangement for people outside of Iraq. Whenever they make the change to the Iraqi dinar, it is worldwide, period. So look, I understand you guys don't like what I'm saying because it sucks. You have been picturing yourself snoring coke off hookers' asses, partying up in Vegas, popping bottles everywhere, being treated like a hero, buying houses and Mercedes and everything else like that. But you should be mad at the people who misled you, not mad at the person trying to tell you the truth. Anyways, that's it for now. I'll catch you later. I'm out.